We have everything you need to know from the injury report in Berea for the final day, some designations for the game. We have those for you. And college football weekend, we got picks for the 5 games that matter for the weekend. And we got a really long segment with Corey Ken and Daft on Draft where we talk about quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tackles as they're progressing through the season, names that are starting to matter in the middle of the craziness of the college football season. And we do spend a good amount of time on the quarterbacks and wide receivers because those guys are going to be the focal point for the Browns this offseason. And like I said, dabble in the tackles a little bit, which is an uneven class. So a good amount of time spent with Corey. And we also talked to him about Shador Sanders being named second on the depth chart. So we'll spend some time with him going through that because Corey had some better feelings about Shedeur in the process and wanted to get that from him. So Brad joins me for the beginning. Corey joins me later. It's a great show getting you ready for everything college football this weekend. Let's get started right now. What's up, guys? Welcome in. Browns Film Breakdown presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. We appreciate you, FanDuel. Brad and I are cooking up a couple Friday night parlays. The USF North Texas game is giving us trouble. And this weird Fresno State, Colorado State line also giving us some trouble. Yeah. So we'll check back in with you soon enough with our results on this thing. But FanDuel's got a little boost for us that we're interested in. We'll see. We'd like to make some Friday night money, but you never know. Also, thank you to Monfredi Dental for supporting and sponsoring everything we do here at Browns Film Breakdown, where we have put up an opening drive answering the rest of the mailbag questions that were not answered in the show. So those are in written form available for you. And if you're a special teams sicko, you love the details of special teams, I continue to cover those for you on Friday from the game before. I have not had the time because of a crazy family week and a lot of pods because they're making trades this week. So weird. So I haven't had the time to do some of the things I've wanted to do. I did not get to the defense yet. I swear to God, I'm going to do that tonight and get it posted. If you were like really craving going back and looking at what went wrong for the Browns defense against the Vikings, that will be up. That is a solemn promise. Greg Newsome spoke to the media for the first time. I wanted to illuminate what he said over there in Jacksonville. I want to find that if I can find it, that'd be great. He said, I definitely sat for a minute. The biggest thing is that just the guys. I've been with some of these guys for my entire career, especially a guy like Denzel Ward. That's my brother for life. So not to be out there on the field with him is definitely going to be hard, but it is like, he said, but it is just like this is what God had for me. So I'm super excited to be here, be with this defense. Number one in takeaways right now. Looking forward to continue that. I'm going to miss Greg. I know he's goofy. I know he did some funny dances, but he was a good player. He's a good player. One that probably got knocked a little too much because of what he went inside to try to play in the slot. I think it gets lost in the shuffle a little bit when you're trading these guys and the dialogue you have around the team. It's like these, I enjoyed Greg. I enjoyed how he played. He did leave it out there, even if there were some deficiencies and some of the things they're asking him to do in the slot. He did leave it out there, and I have no problem with that first round pick that they ended up taking. And to be honest, I mean, if they win a different route at cornerback, we're probably going to get a firsthand experience of if they went with Tyson Campbell. That's kind of the ironic thing here of, okay, well, you think there was someone better at that spot. There you go, right? Because who was around the Newsome pick? Do you remember? I know there was some like Rashad Bateman. Would they be interested in him? Was a big talking point around that pick. But I think Bateman got selected a little bit before. No, he was still there. So he went. Or was he still there? No, he went after. He was the next pick. Okay. So picks around him. Najee Harris, 2 picks in front. Travis Etienne went in front of him. Then Newsome. Then Bateman. Peyton Turner has not panned out at all. I liked him coming out. Stokes has not panned out well for the Packers.
Yeah.
Rousseau has been fine for the Bills. I wouldn't say anything crazy. He's been fine. Odafe Owe has just been traded. The Browns now have the 32nd pick. So the Browns have from this draft at one time had Newsome and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who was pick 32, and then they had Elijah Moore, who was pick 34, and now they have Tyson Campbell, who's pick 33. Kind of crazy how that all shook out. I guess if you're and then they have Tevin Jenkins, who's pick 39. Browns are just loaded up on guys in the 21 draft. That's funny.
Yeah. Like high second round guys.
And then JOK went in the 40s there, right? So
yeah.
That one is That one is interesting. JOK was what? No, he went 52. JOK did in that one. So if you're
Micah
redrafting
Parsons.
this spot 26, let me see who you take. I guess if you're like truly redrafting and you could like pick again,
Yeah.
there's a guy Amon-Ra St. Brown. He went in the 4th round, so that's not even like in the range. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. In that range of like just kind of into the 2nd round based on performance. Like Creed Humphrey was the Kansas City pick at 63. But Landon Dickerson's been a nice center for Philly. I don't know, because then you start getting in the later picks. That's just tricky to talk about. You know what I mean?
Trying to see if there's anybody else that jumps out like super productive right now. I'm sure somebody has done this process of redrafting this draft.
Well, there's the weighted career approximate value thing that Pro Football Reference does. I don't pretend to know if this is the most efficient way to study who's been the best in the class, but Newsome at 14 in his number is like pretty significantly down there. Campbell's at like 20, 22 or 23, I think. Where was Campbell? So Campbell's 19 and as the number assigned, not 19th best, but number 19 on that. And they probably base a lot of this on like Pro Bowls and all pros and stuff. So, it's a little tricky, but just by what has a guy accomplished so far, his production's been a little better than Newsome. Like JOK is kind of up there a little bit. JOK is at 22. I don't know. It's a goofy experiment, but I just like looking at like that range, who was there, what player was there.
Whatever happened to Richard LeCount?
Yeah, he's gone. He is nowhere to be found around the league at this point. I don't know. That one's tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it. All right, we studied it. We did well enough. It seems like Tyson's going to play this week. He says he's crash coursed and feels ready to go and has spent time with Denzel on his end, and feels prepared. He's going to play. That's interesting. The only one we know now is Mike Hall is going to be out, which is not a shocker. It's been the pattern. Not going to spend our time here doing it again. We've said everything we need to say. There's a disconnect between the team expecting him to be ready by a couple weeks ago, and he's not ready. We have never been told of a real setback. It's not like we've sat down with Andrew or Kevin and they've been like, hey, the knee. We haven't even been told like, hey, the knee's not responding. This is not going the way we thought it would. They've said this is all a part of the plan, is the only thing they've ever said. Well, if the part of the plan was having him miss 6 games, then the plan was bad because you kept him on the 53. So that's where I'll leave it. I don't think that's the case. I think there's a very clear disconnect between Mike not feeling ready and the team thinking he was close to ready or ready at the week 4 turn. That's it. Whatever's going on here is getting more strange by the week, but we're this game, we're like 1 game away from him not playing, from missing like a 2 cents. Like, could you have put him on the IR after week 3? Like, then you could have gotten another 4 weeks and opened that roster spot up for somebody else. That's where it's
exactly.
We've gotten no word that anything has gone sideways. We've been told, oh, this is part of the plan. It's not. That's not the plan. If that's your plan, then we need to have a different question.
Yeah.
So, it's not weird to me to think like, on the surface, it's not weird that a guy's coming back from an MCL tear and it's not responding the way he hoped. That's all that we need to know. Like, hey, he doesn't feel confident in the knee. We're going to get him out there when he's ready to play. For now, he doesn't feel confident in it. Training staff is trying to get him to feel confident in it. That's it. Simple enough. We've never been told there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah. Yeah. But there was a weird conversation that Barry had in the off season when he was meeting, and he was asked about some injury stuff and he refused to answer it. I think it was around Mike Hall and stuff, because he was like, hey, I learned my lesson last year when I, kind of gave you guys like solid timelines on those tackles, right? And it didn't play out that way. And he's like, I learned my lesson on that, so I'm not gonna, give an exact timeline on this stuff until we know further down the line. And I
Yeah.
think they were talking around Mike Hall and whoever else they were talking about at the time. But the truth is that not putting him on the IR is the indicator that you thought he was coming back. Period. Like, you don't have to say a word to us.
Yeah.
Your actions show that
But
you
also
thought he
not
was coming
saying there's
back.
a setback or anything. It's like, well,
Yeah.
no, man, because you told us he was going to be back. You thought he would, and now we're
Yeah.
multiple weeks past the return spot that he would have had if he had just gone on the IR. So something's off. But it's not. They don't have to tell us, but there's something off. That's what we're telling you guys.
Yeah.
So take it for what it's worth. I did see the official injury report come out now, so we have pretty
Okay.
much everybody full today except for DeMonte Casey's dealing with an illness, so he was limited today. He was DMP yesterday, a new arrival on the practice report. He might have the flu. I don't know, but he didn't. He's not. He's not. He was just limited capacity. Everyone else is full. On the Steelers side, relatively healthy, but they are going to miss Calvin Austin, so that means Roman Wilson or somebody has to step up for them. I don't know. It could be Roman Wilson, could be this Keyshawn Williams, this UDFA they have. They might elevate for the game. We'll see. Roman Wilson been a big disappointment. Feels like most of the guys on the offensive side for that Michigan national championship, like Blake Corum has never amounted to anything.
Not yet.
McCarthy's
Yeah.
been uneven. Some really weird draft results for Michigan drafted players. We'll hope that changes here with Mason Graham.
Yeah.
I digress. DK Metcalf. He was a rest guy early in the week. They actually gave him They gave him Wednesday off. That's interesting. Jalen Ramsey was 2 straight DMPs, and then he was a full participant in practice here. Not a limited, full participant. So there was like one of the reporters asked him if he was going to play, and he gave like a sly smile and said, "We'll see." I know you had some notes about him like working with the training staff and taking their input and his input. He's questionable. I don't know. I wouldn't rush him back for this one, not for personal self-gain reasons. I would also not want to rush anybody back who only had one practice, but maybe he's good to go. I don't know. He went through individual periods and did a couple team drills. Is what the reports are saying, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
He had this weird dialogue that I was reading to you earlier about, it's not my call. I tell him how I feel, but ultimately the trainers have the final say. Well, that's weird, just a weird dialogue around that. And he also gives the sly smile and the we'll see. So I don't know. I wanted to say like 10 minutes ago that he wasn't gonna. I'm trending
Mhm.
towards no, but then now you see a just full participant, and I'm a little more up in the air about it.
Yeah, that's the first release of an injury report we've seen.
Yeah.
Highsmith, Joey Porter Jr., Jalen Warren, all off the injury report for those guys. So full
Yeah.
practices. So this will be a good version of the Steelers. It seems like the Browns are going to go in and play. So all right, that's it. Let's pick our college games. We've got
Do it.
an update. Last week, Brad won Cincinnati, Iowa State. I took Iowa State getting a 1.5. They got beat. Cincinnati, fun team this year. Snippert was rocking for that game. Alabama late touchdown cover, 12.5 against Vandy. They cover Alabama. I get that one. Brad gets Ohio State, Minnesota. I thought Minnesota would cover 23.5. Not even close. Learning my lesson. Pretty good Ohio State defense. Might be insanely good. Miami went to Florida State, handled them, the 4.5 line. Hurricanes, Ohio State seem to be on a 2001 style crash course. Mississippi State A&M, you got that one. Mississippi State did not show up for that game. All right, there we go. It is now Jake 17-13, Brad 13-16. You made up a game on me, and it's a big slate this week.
Let's go.
And there's great games that we don't even have on here, like
Yeah.
Georgia Auburn is a late game that's really fun. There's another one there, Florida, and who does Florida play? At Texas A&M for a night game. That's
South
a
Carolina,
good one.
LSU. Yeah.
South Carolina. So the SEC schedule's starting to get rolling, which is going to be like good games every week, and the Big Ten's got some good ones this week. So 3 really good ones, honestly. We have Ohio State at Illinois. 14.5 the Buckeyes are laying in this one. It's going to be raucous crowd, man. It's going to be loud.
This is tough.
Ohio State's covered every spread this year.
Yeah, I'm
Every
gonna
single one of
take.
them.
I'm gonna take Ohio State.
Yeah, me too. I just until someone proves that they can play with them, I don't think Illinois is a team that can play with them yet. I watched that offense against Indiana.
Yeah.
I don't see it. So, okay, we're on the Ohio State bandwagon on this one. Alabama at Missouri. Missouri is number 14. I don't know why I didn't list that there. So they're pretty good. Brad made a great point in the pre-show that they have played every single of their 5 games that they've won at home. This is also at home. Alabama comes there. Alabama's laying 2.5 at Missouri, who ends up playing 8 home games and only 4 road games for the year. That's nice. Good on the travel budget.
Very bizarre. Yeah.
Very bizarre. But I think I'm going to take Alabama, Brad, to cover. They're going to win by a field goal.
This is I'm conflicted. It's 2.5 is just such a bad number. I hate 2.5, right? Like,
it is a rough number.
It's a stupid number. I don't want 2.5. But I'll take Missouri. Give me the points in Missouri.
He's going to take the Tigers. Boy. All right. Is he going to regret that, folks? Time will tell. Oregon laying 7.5, the marquee game of the day, hosting number 7, Indiana. All eyes should be on this 3:30 kick, man. We got Fernando Mendoza. We got Dante Moore. Draft prospects all over the field. Who are you taking? Ducks winning by more than a touchdown in this game? I'm taking the Ducks. I think they win by 10. 34-24 final. Jake's prediction.
All right, yeah, give me Oregon.
All right. He's on Oregon. Next, the Red River rivalry. We have number 6, Oklahoma, laying 1.5. I think they're laying 1.5 against Texas in the Cotton Bowl. Or what is that? Is it the Cotton Bowl? Not the Cotton Bowl, is it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it's confusing because there's a bowl that is the Cotton Bowl that's not at the Cotton Bowl. Or am I losing my mind on this? I don't know. No, it's at the Cotton Bowl. The stadium's called the Cotton Bowl, but there's also a Cotton Bowl that's not at the Cotton Bowl.
It's not held there.
No, exactly right. All right. I was getting myself confused. Anyway, who do you like in this game? I think it seems like Mateer is trending toward maybe getting out there and playing.
This week?
This is what I've read. He's going to show up and try to give it a go.
Let's go. Give me Oklahoma.
Okay. That's good because I was going to take Texas. I felt like this is one they bounce back.
Okay.
They get 1.5. I'll take Texas. You're taking Oklahoma. And then a redo of the last year's game in Michigan where USC came in. I think USC came in and beat them, right? I think they did last year. Maybe they didn't, though. No, Michigan beat them last year. At Michigan. Beat them by 3. Michigan lost a lot of other games that year, but Michigan did beat them. That's back when Miller Moss was starting for USC last year. Things have changed so much. We're going to talk to Corey in a minute. We talk about Chris Bell, who's now a fun wide receiver prospect who is catching passes for Miller Moss at Louisville. But anyway, USC's tough loss on the road at Illinois, kind of a weird game. I thought they should have won that game. A couple plays called back. I don't know, man. Michigan on the road here. Who you taking in this one?
I'll take USC to cover.
And I feel the same, but I think for the sake of us having some fun, I'm gonna take Michigan. I don't trust Michigan's offense. Just don't think they're very good. But let's consider they keep it close.
Yeah, these east to west spots got to be tough.
No doubt. No doubt. I think that's the wild card in all of these, especially like that Rutgers-Washington game tonight. It was kind of similar where Washington went left to right, went out to Maryland to play, sleptwalked through 3 quarters, and then turned it on and came back and stunned Maryland late. So
yeah,
I feel like this has a good chance to be a fun Friday night game. Anyway, good games.
You got a couple of them here with Indiana going to Oregon.
Oh, man. Yeah, we do. The Big Ten's weird in that way. The SEC's rivalries are tightly geolocated where, the Big Ten's running up the airplanes, running up the carbon footprint or whatever it is. So, anyway, listen, good college football Saturday. Good college football Friday night. Good college football Saturday. Make some money, put some bets. FanDuel's got some great stuff out there to to capitalize on and take advantage of the opportunity to boost up some of those fun parlays you put together. Of all these, which one do you feel the best about? I think I feel the best about putting some good money on Ohio State to win by 17. They only have to cover
Yeah,
14 and a half.
I think that's by far the one I feel the best about.
Me too. These other ones are tight, close. We picked a close group, and
Yeah.
even I think Oregon's got the better roster by a wide margin, especially that defensive line against Indiana's offensive line. But it's fun to see if Mendoza can elevate, make his team better,
Yes.
lift him up, and make the most of that challenging environment we know out there in Eugene. So good Saturday, man. Hunker down. I got a wide receiver for your Saturday prospect spotlight that I'll write on. And we're going to get over now to the visit with Corey, which had, I think, some really good prospect dialogue on some of these players. And we'll talk about Shedeur a little bit too. So thanks to you guys for being here. Thanks to my boy Brad for working the show here with me. We will check in with you again for your game day pod. So keep your eyes out for that. We'll have all the information. Browns Steelers as the Browns look to get their first win there since 2003. All right. Thanks for being here. Checking in with Corey now. We are catching you at the end. You know what we say. Go Browns. All right, Corey and I link up for our weekend update. Last weekend, I text Corey. I was like, hey, man, let's talk on the pod. And then I think my kids went in destruction mode or something. So we never linked up. This is just how it goes for dads out here on the streets, man. We're trying our best. But we're here today. And I think, Corey, the most exciting thing, before we get to college, let's just talk about Shedeur. He's the second guy this week. They just announced it maybe a half hour ago. And I think the point that I made, and you tell me what you think, that early in the week, it was like, pretty clear that the Joe thing snuck up on him. Surprised that anybody would be interested in Joe. Okay, you can have him. We'll take a pick swap. Not a problem. And then you got to adjust course here, which it's pretty clear that Dylan was getting some first team reps before he got the job. So then he gets it. Imagine Joe was taking a few, but I feel relatively confident in saying that Shedeur and Bailey Zappi were not getting any of those reps. So you have to then make him earn that backup role through the week. Show us you can be with the first team on a couple of these reps, operate the huddle, operate the play call, take everything in, get us in and out, be efficient. There's just an element of we need to see it there. It's not like, hey, Shedeur's a 71 overall and he's our highest rated backup quarterback, and now we're putting him second on the depth chart. There's things you gotta you could cross the boxes along the way. And I mean, I think he did that. I mean, the roster was probably so prohibitive that because Mike Hall's still not playing, he's taken up a spot. They've got some others, like bringing on Zappi to the 53 would have been challenging based on the way things shook out. So this is probably, and again, I tried to illuminate this by the beginning of the week, like default occurrence here. But he I don't think if they felt he really wasn't ready, like he can't do what we're asking him to do. He can't get the process down. He can't do these whatever things. I don't think they would have given it to him. So it sounds like he earned it. And
they could very easily elevate Zappi from the practice squad.
So you would have to do that, and then he'd have to be your direct backup, and Shedeur could be the emergency because he's on the 53. Right. So he'd have to be on the active roster for the game. So they could. It feels like they eliminated that, though, with this decision to announce that he's the second guy. So anyway, long story short, those are your two quarterbacks now. And, I know you loved him coming out. I mean, love is loose. I mean, you liked him. I think that you started by the end of the process to see what some of the concerns were with, would he be able to see this stuff translate? Do you still have a belief he can do it, Corey? Do you think there's, with everything surrounding it, everything we know about the pre-draft, everything we know about how it's shaken out since he's been here, pantomiming an interview. Do you think it's still possible for him to figure this out?
Yeah, I do. Again, going back to that class, I didn't like the class. And if I have to see a floor on a quarterback for me to be like, yeah, I can at least see it, then that's what I'm going to go for in last year's class. And for Cam Ward, the ceiling is obviously way higher, but I still feel like I still don't know what the floor is on Cam Ward. And so that was my biggest concern with him, especially coming from the Washington State. In Miami, we saw some of the back across your body interceptions and some of the stuff. It's like, man, what are you doing? And it's been a little slow for me at the NFL level too. Again, we're not victory lapping or making any broad sweeping assumptions off of quarterbacks based off of not even a half a season. But so I still believe in the floor. Do I think that he could be a starting quarterback in the NFL at the NFL level on a regular, consistent basis? Man, I that's not a bet. Like, I wouldn't put money on it. Like, if you set a prop up for me, I wouldn't put any money on it. But I do like the floor in terms of being like, if this guy ends up being your backup and your quarterback goes down, can he win you a football game by just getting again, can he get in and out of the huddle? Can he operate a game plan? Can he keep the ball out of harm's way? Yeah, I think he could do that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm interested. The sour taste that gets left from the Rams game is something that I think a lot of people are afraid of, but you got to see. I mean, I don't know. I don't have an answer on this. I think we see when they prepare from. I do know that they prefer, as most teams would, not to have to throttle them into a game mid-game, right? Like that's the thing they don't have now, where Joe is like the human shield in between. Yeah. If Dylan has a really rough game and you can just see it's not there, it's not working out, we're doing further damage by throwing him back into the fold here. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no human shield now. It's the two rookies are out there to solve it. And that is, it's an uncomfortable spot considering, you love to go like the clear thing is they'd love to give Shedeur a start. If he starts, give him one where he's prepared for it all week. Right. But ultimately they have taken away that luxury.
That was the Luke McCown tweet from yesterday, right? Like, yes. Because a player's named a backup doesn't mean that like if the starter went down that next game he wouldn't start. Correct. Sometimes not being named that backup is if the starter goes down mid-game, we feel more comfortable putting Joe Flacco in instead of Shador Sanders. That's not to say the next week then that comes around, if we give Shedeur a full week of a game, like to game plan, that we wouldn't start him and then Joe wouldn't be his backup. But again, it is that like throttling him mid-game that is, I think, a lot of times lost in translation, lost in context of like very Madden brained, right? Like, nope, he is number 2 on the depth chart. That means they clearly see him as the third, like he is number 3 on the depth chart. So they clearly see him as the third best quarterback. And
why would they start the 68 overall in front of the 72 overall? It's just it's not how the world of football,
right?
How the world of football works, man. You got to prove that you can do things that nobody you as a fan. And there are things I don't know, and I think I study this pretty deeply and thoroughly. Like parts of this, for example, I wrote for our folks today, Corey, about how like Bubba Ventrone was talking about. A punt snap, like the ball that Gage Larvadain didn't field, which rolled out to like the 2-yard line. He overplayed the pre-snap setup of the punter. So the punter was shaded like he was punting right, and he ends up catching it, squaring, and punting the opposite direction. He's like, he overplayed the punter shade. And I'm like, I've never thought about how they would set the return man based on the punter shade. Like, it's probably something most folks don't see, but punters like angle their body and they kind of scoot off center to catch the snap and get an efficient angled punt out. And there's just little details like that. And there's so many little details of what an offense is trying to do. Hey, who's on the line and who's off? Who's going in motion? Hey, if this guy like, I love Harold Fannin, but if you really watch the film that's unedited, he's kind of lining up incorrectly 2 or 3 times a game, and they've had to correct him. I mean, last week I was watching and Aiden Huntington had a ton more to go. Like there's some stuff here where they're using Harold, and this is not to knock Harold. He's lining up everywhere and they're putting him in motion all the time. There's a lot for him to remember on top of, hey, go kick out NFL defensive ends for us, please. Will you go in motion and full speed ahead and try to kick out Jonathan Grenard, who's just going to be downhill barreling into you. So I just am like, those are the little things people don't understand. And if you as a quarterback, you're calling a specific formation with a specific motion and you are looking the wrong way to send the guy in motion, and we have to take a delay penalty because you're looking the wrong way and we're not on time, there's things there that have to be done correctly. So the hope here is that by naming him the number 2, it's not a default decision. It's that he's acquired the understanding and the place to be for all. That's not even talking about making adjustments at the line of scrimmage, maybe identifying the mic and checking the cover protection and, you know, all those little other deeper elements beyond just what the playbook is written out that you go in the huddle and tell people. So it's deep. It is deep.
Probably 7 to 10 seconds from getting out of the huddle to snapping the football.
It's got to be fast. Yeah, man. It's got to be really fast. You can't have tongue-tied stuff in the huddle. Like the old Gruden and speaking of Gruden, McCown, like the old, not McCown, it was Sims that he was ripping on. Yeah. That, he was just
one, that play call was way too long, but
there are some of those that are too long. I have yet to really come across how Kevin calls things. I've tried to find, like, there's some stuff out there with the Bengals calling plays that are funny, based on the names and stuff, and they're not awful. They're not awful, but I don't know. Maybe the Browns do get a little long with play names, but I don't feel like they do. Would be my hunch, but nonetheless, we'll hope for the best for Shedeur. I mean, the Browns are as desperate as any. That's the funniest thing is the takes lately about how they're trying to screw this kid over. It's like, hey man, there's no place that needs this more than Cleveland. And if you think their intentions in a year where they're desperate as ever to figure out quarterback is to, like, you need to check your brain. Like, if that's the way you think that, like, you really think this is going, that's the most nonsensical stuff. They're busy enough trying to save jobs and win games here to, like, oh, hey, also subplot, let's also screw over Shador Sanders this year as best we can. Let's see what we can do. That is the goofiest stuff in the world. Anyway, let's talk ball this weekend, Corey. Let's get off the Shedeur topic from the weeds. I think we've covered it from the realistic perspective well enough. It's a huge one. It's a huge one in Oregon. And Dante and the Ducks welcome in a pretty hot Indiana team. I don't really care so much for who wins. Can we just have both quarterbacks play well, right? I think that's the most exciting thing is seeing in this environment against these defenses are both playing pretty well.
Yeah.
It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah. So what I said on my pod last night, or in today's episode, I guess, is like, I'm still trying to level set the quarterback expectations a little bit because, like, the Indiana offensive line is not very good, and the Oregon defensive line is very good.
I feel like the Indiana group knows that. Like, their scheme knows they have to operate that way.
Yeah. But what I will say is Mendoza, going back to us, I mean, it's literally on his cal tape of him standing in and throwing glance posts, throwing. I mean, 2 weeks ago against Iowa, threw that seam ball, getting smacked in the chin, just like it's all over the Stanford game on his cal tape. He throws a game-winning post layered right over top of the corner, while getting smacked in the face, like at the go-ahead touchdown. So like those kind of things are all over his tape. But I kind of do want to level set a little bit as here, like, there's going to be a lot more pressure on Mendoza than there will be on Moore in this game. Like, I think that's just going to be the way it is. But like at the same time, we're talking about potential number one picks here, right? So like in both of them. So if you are drafting a guy number one overall, you want to see that he has also the ability to kind of elevate your team in situations like that too. Like Dante Moore against Penn State, hostile environment, Penn State defensive line, obviously uber athletic. They're Penn State athletes. Like, they worked a lot of quick game in that first half. And then second half, they started to shoulder a little bit more on Dante, and he handled it extraordinarily well. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, you have to be able to shoulder some stuff when your back's kind of against the wall. Penn State marched back in that game. And then that, into overtime, those last drives, like, it was on Dante Moore's shoulders, and he played as lights out as he could have. So even though I think the pressure is going to be on Mendoza more so than Moore in this game, like, I still have the expectation that, like, then I still need to see you elevate the guys around you in the situation.
I agree. It's going to be, I wish it was a night game because I just love those sit down with your dinner and enjoy a good ball game things. But it's going to be fun. It'll be a good one. I think you're spot on talking about the perception of like quarterback equal playing field is not the case here. There's no doubt that Oregon brings a more talented defense. No. So if Mendoza were to rise to the moment and make a bunch of plays and keep them in the game and keep them close, there's a perspective of like, we're viewing this through the quarterback's perspective of like, okay, who's making them? And this is what makes your pod good, your website run well, is the same angle here. It's not one quarterback beats the other, man. It is evaluating based on the standards around them. So I'm totally with you on that. I expect a big day out of Moore, but we'll see what Mendoza is able to muster up. I'm looking forward to watching that one. I think that, I don't want to go through game by game here. I think the thing to do is Jordan Reed at ESPN, who I know we both have a lot of respect for, put out his quarterback big board, I guess. And I'm not really so much worried about the bottom of it. I think the top four names are interesting. He has Carson Beck fifth, which is a point of discussion, right? I don't think we need to get into that yet. I still think we're worried about the guys at the top, and he sees it similar to what you and I have kind of talked about here loosely. I know you've talked about more in depth on your show, which I highly recommend for you guys who really want to get involved heavily in focused draft content. You just from watching it, the more Mendoza throws, processing, running their offense, elevating, it's there, right? I don't think there's something generational going on in this group, but I think it's enough that you would be excited about taking them because of what they can do in the basement, as we talked about. Lenoris is a bit more, Jimmy Butler, hold the paper, squint at it a little bit, but you can see it. It doesn't take that much to see it. And then obviously I think Ty Simpson has gone up for both of us significantly. So what I want you to do, if you can, because I think we've both gone through the Mendoza Moore stuff, is just, if you're into Lenore Sellers, like, what is the vision? What's the process? What do you like about, like, it's hard for us to presume it won't be Kevin at this point. So it's like we can't operate under the idea Kevin's not here. And how does that fit with the Browns? I think that's a fair question to ask, right? And then on the flip side, Corey, this is where your expertise based on watching charting and everything is like, I'm not sure there's a more Stefanski laced quarterback here than Ty Simpson. I know he's not 6'5", he's probably 6'2", but it doesn't seem like he's small. And he is like ripping darts over the middle. Like every inbreaker this SOB can find, he's nailing it. And it's like not basic stuff here. He's layering it. He's throwing against the grain, against linebackers, hook zoning, and like the downfield throws are pretty strong too. And this wouldn't call this Alabama team like the Judy and Ruggs and Waddle this isn't Mac Jones wide receiver skill around him. So I do think he's doing some very impressive stuff despite not playing a ton of ball games so far.
Yeah, so starting with Simpson, then I would agree with that. I do like Jeremy Bernard and Isaiah Horton, those two receivers that he does have that are making plays. Again, it was John Ledyard who tweeted it out, just like, hey, it was I don't remember who tweeted out the original post, but it was like, here's the NFL leaders in yards. And it was like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Meke Egbuka, Jackson Smith and Jigba, like all of these non-burners, non-lethal athletes, but just like play the position really well. And I think Jeremy Bernard fits that mold very well, in terms of like just knows how to win, knows how to play the position, is a good weapon in that regard. But yeah, Simpson, man, there were a few more warts on the Vandy tape upon second watch, just in terms like
the interception was tough. I think he thought that
one though. I don't. Yeah.
But I think he processed it out as man, and it drops into 3 look, and he expected the corner to run. But yeah, highlight if the folks want to look at the warts you're talking about. Tell us those.
Yeah, just a little accuracy issues, specifically outside the numbers. There was like 2 or 3, so it wasn't even substantial. But it's like the first time that I've seen any sort of ball placement issues with Ty Simpson on the whole season's tape. So, yeah, man, he's hitting that back foot and the ball's coming out hot. Consistently. He knows what he's looking at. Isn't afraid to turn his back to the defense, get his eyes back around, get the ball out. Some stuff you really love to see. The Vandy game, he even showed like some wiggle. Like he was getting out of structure, making some plays with his legs. Do I think he's a good athlete? I mean, no, but like he's probably average plus, like a C athlete if you're on a grading scale. So like good enough to extend if stuff around him breaks down a little bit. So there's a lot to like about Ty Simpson. Again, those SEC quarterbacks are about to hit the heart of their schedules. So we'll find out a lot more about Sellers and Simpsons in particular. But yeah, lots of good stuff. The arm is a B to B plus. So I don't think it's not extraordinarily a huge arm, but like way more, like enough drive that you need to fit the ball into windows, and way more than enough. So like again, B to B plus arm. There's a lot to like about Ty Simpson. I would say him and Dante Moore are running probably the 2 tightest ships in college football is the term that I've been using. Like they're both just running very tight ships. They know where they're getting their eyes. Their feet are clean. The upper bodies are clean. Everything is just like very 1, 2, 3, good to go. Like those 2 guys.
Listen, as it sits right now, do you see him? And this is so far away, but zoomed out, is this like JJ McCarthy level, like a 10th overall quarterback, like where a team falls in love with him, they love the intangibles and think he can play the game in that way that really fit? Like he's not going to be for everybody. I don't think. I think he's going to be for the right teams and the right structure. So that's where I'm like, if you're in this world of maybe the Jags pick comes back down to earth a little bit, you're maybe hoping you can get him in that, I don't know, 10 to 20 range, somewhere between where McCarthy was selected and what was Kenny Pickett, like 20th. I'm just like that. It feels like he's a late first round grade. Some people could have still a day 2 grade on him at this point because you got to play, like you said, Corey, you got to play the meat and potatoes of the schedule. And sort of, the Georgia performance was awesome, but can you do that every week? That's the thing. It feels like his cap is probably because of some size restrictions and some stuff. There's probably like, hey, we wish we also had maybe a few more starts from him. I don't know. I guess what I'm getting at, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is I don't know that he pushes for the first or second quarterback off the board here.
I don't either. Again, unless like I think Mendoza has potential to have still some volatile play down the stretch, just because that offense is so RPO heavy.
Yeah.
And if you have to push them back against the sticks a little bit, given the offensive line in front of him and defensive lines can really start pinning their ears back and just like going after him, there's some room for volatility there. Obviously, room for volatility with Sellers. So like we could get to the position where he could be like the second quarterback off the board, I think, as long as like the tight ship stuff keeps playing. I think we've seen this pendulum swing with quarterbacks where it's like the Mahomes Allen stuff happened and everybody was like, we have to swing on tools. And now it's like, hold on. Everybody's coming back down to earth a little bit and being like, these guys got to know how to play the position. And it felt like,
right.
I know Anthony Richardson went top 5 that year, but it felt like the 2023 class was really that, even the 2022 class, because Kenny Pickett went first round and Ritter and Willis went third round that year. And everybody was like, well, Willis and Ritter have the tools. They need to be the first ones off the board. So maybe that 2021, it might've been the 2021 class where Fields, Lance, Wilson all bottomed out pretty quick. Everybody's like, wait, these guys need to know how to play the position a little bit more than just having these awesome tools. And so I think we are back to that thinking of like, these guys need to know how to play the position. And that's what Ty Simpson's showing. So I do think there's still a little bit of room for him to climb up the board a little bit.
Okay.
With Sellers, man, what I can hang my hat on with Sellers is that his offensive coordinators at the college level have been Dowell Loggins, a ton of NFL experience running NFL offenses, and Mike Shula, a ton of NFL experience running NFL offenses. He's only 20. And again, I think I said it the last time I was on, but like, I see the stair stepping with Sellers every time I watch him. It's like, oh, he took another step. You know, if we're stair stepping it might have been just one step. It might not have been 2 or 3 steps up the stairwell, right? It might have just been that one step, but I can see the growth. In terms of like, dang, man, he's getting the ball out when he's hitting that back foot way more often. He's understanding what he's seeing pre-snap and he's taking it if he's got it. Dang, man, I saw him at that backside post. I saw him get his eyes to a dig. I saw him at the alert. I don't know if I've seen him do that before. Just the stuff. I mean, he's always fought to stay in structure. I don't know if he's ever been particularly good at staying in structure. You can see he gets a little antsy in there, even though he's like trying to fight to be a structured quarterback. But you see that coming along.
It would be hard when you know, like, I'm the third best athlete probably out on the entire field here.
Yeah,
I kind of hate this because
you don't want to coach it all the way out of him either. So I'm sure it's a struggle for the coaching staff too. But again, I always go back to like, this is the same coaching again, different offensive coordinator, but same structured offensive coordinator, offensive, NFL offense wise. But like, they took Spencer Rattler, who was the biggest drifter, the biggest back foot thrower, Lincoln Riley raid quarterback that has ever existed, and turned him into almost too robotic of a pro style quarterback by the time he declared. And again, you don't want to. I think they even coached a little bit out of like the stuff that made Rattler at Oklahoma. To the point, I think he's finding it again in New Orleans. I think he's playing actually really good football in New Orleans now. But like, so you don't want to coach it all the way out of Sellers, but like, I think they're working with him to find that mid ground. If you feel pressure, man, sometimes just go down and take the sack. Stop trying to spin out of everything and make the Herculean play and where it results in you taking a 12-yard loss. Like, that stuff is still happening where he's taking these massive losses because he's trying to extend outside of structure when plays break down. And it's like, dude, sometimes you just got to cut it. You just got to call a loss. And I think that's kind of the stuff he's still fighting with. But in terms of like back football coming out, I'm seeing it a lot more frequently. And like, I think I already feel better about Sellers than I would have about Richardson in 2023.
That's good to know. It's good to know. I mean, he's going to be the most tantalizing prospect. He's going to have a electric pro day. He could still go back in theory, but I don't also know that going back to say, that's where I'm at too. I don't think that
they can't protect
South Carolina is going to do him any benefits at this point. So yeah, if he was, it'd be somebody ponying up a massive amount of money to transfer somewhere that made sense to him. But I still think the NFL just makes the most sense for him. The tools are too interesting for teams. He's going to get drafted. It's like long term, man. I understand NIL's fun, but NIL's for like Diego Pavias of the world, man. Like,
right. It's nobody's ponying up $50 million in guaranteed money for you either to come back to
exactly.
Like, that's
like, you're only going to harm if you go somewhere and it doesn't work. It just the damage feels, based on where he is perceptionally for the league, the damage feels way more likely than any sort of locking you into a guaranteed first overall pick, which he could still ultimately be in this class. So anyway, that's the quarterback. So I think when time goes, like we'll continue to talk about some of the others sort of lingering. I know you like Hoover at TCU. We can talk about him in a little in the coming weeks, and there's some others. The Mensa kid at Duke's having some nice games too. So like there's some to consider, but I think as the Browns are at the top of this thing, I don't even know that we need to get too far into the weeds because it just almost at this point as we sit here, we'll adjust. Like if Dylan Gabriel lights the world on fire for 10 straight weeks, we can have different discussions, but I continue to want to highlight the top of the board. But there's two positions that are just, you can't ignore them. I mean, it's tackle and wide receiver. I just want to do your top 4. The perception is it's a weak receiver class. I think that's probably true. I mean, listen, what's coming in 27 is like earth-shattering stuff. Like
Coleman and Smith, that's
oh my goodness, man,
unbelievable.
I mean, and I know Ryan's got some warts that are coming up a little on tape this year, but he's still got like Odell Light type movement out here, man. That's going to be tantalizing for some teams, but it's there's still guys this year that I think can matter, and I think that you mentioned to me ahead of the show that there's more that you're starting to like, and you even referenced the kid at Bama. So yeah, enlighten us on the 4 or 5 names that come to mind. Like, hey, these guys are going to flirt with the first round, or if there's some that are going to get higher in the top 15, let us know.
Yeah, so obviously Jordan Tyson's the headliner, the Arizona State wide receiver. Came into the season as really the only bona fide first round wide receiver by most major analysts and consensus. But we've seen a lot of guys emerge, and I think it would be funny for Jordan Tyson to wind up in Cleveland with his brother. That'd be a fun little.
Well, let's talk about him in depth then, because I saw a mock draft with him as a Browns pick from the Jags. You alluded like that's too low. He's going higher. I agree. What is he to you? Is he like, because I just me personally was asked this question on our mailbag, Corey, like who would you like if you could take any former Brown non-quarterback into Sunday's game, who would you take? And I'm like, I mean, like if I could get like a ball winner like Josh Gordon for this game, like that you can just throw it up to and have that back pocket option, like they need a ball winner. I'm not sure that's something Tyson necessarily is all the time, but like I am curious of what he profiles to you, or if you have a comp for him, or what it like enlightening from Browns fans on that.
Yeah, so I mean, he's a really smooth athlete, really fluid athlete, really plucky hands, strong hands through contact. Again, not necessarily a ball winner through like at the catch point or anything like that, or even super physical off the line of scrimmage. But you stack him, you bunch him. He does have enough fluid releases to win off the line of scrimmage as well, and he's putting together a really strong season. With Tyson as well, the thing has always been kind of soft tissue injuries. He's missed a lot of time throughout his college career. I believe he was at USC before he went to Arizona State, so he missed a lot of time at USC. Has missed some time at Arizona State with some injuries. So that's obviously the thing there. But like he's just a very refined, fluid mover. And that's excellent when it translates into route running. That's excellent when it translates into being able to make people miss in the open field after the catch. All stuff that Tyson is doing on tape at Arizona State. So still the wide receiver one of this class at this point, I would say. But I would also say that there's a couple guys that have really taken a massive leap as well. So,
well, I mean, do you like Mekhi Lemon? He seems to be the next.
Yeah. So we mentioned the Mekhi Lemon, or we mentioned the Jeremy Bernard comp to those receivers who just like aren't overly explosive, but they're smooth. They know how to win. They know how to separate naturally. They know how to hunt green grass against zone coverage. Know how to leverage into and melt into different coverage looks. The way that the Amon-Ra's, the Igbukas, the Jackson Smith and Jigbas can, despite not having top end tools, right? Mekhi is definitely that fit, but I would also say he's one of the more creative players after the catch as well. I forget what game it was. It might have been the Purdue game. They ran a trick play and he caught a wide receiver pass or a running back pass, like a double pass, and just made a couple guys miss in the open field, like look absolutely silly. The play got called back, but it's like that was
Illinois. That was a
Illinois game.
Play.
Yeah.
The center came into the game and the kid was just wandering like 10 yards downfield. It's the funniest thing.
Yeah. So he has that innate ability to create after the catch too, and I think that's going to be really sought after. Again, this is where me as a draft analyst, and I could come back and be like, you know what, I need to adjust to these Amon-Ra's and these Igbukas and these JSNs because that's what's winning. But like, I still kind of want to favor the guys that can be those ball winners, that can be the bona fide ones in a wide receiver room. And that's not necessarily the thing that I see with him. For me, it's like this is a Z. This is a Z slot versatile guy. It doesn't necessarily have that like strong. If I need a bailout, I'm going to this guy, right? The AJ Browns of the world, the DK Metcalfs of the world, those kind of guys. Whereas the other two guys that I'm about to mention, I have seen kind of develop into that role. Carnell Tate at Ohio State is one of them. There's been nobody that has been more night and day from their 2024 to 2025 tape than Carnell Tate.
That's good to hear.
The 2024 tape, man, is just like, does he want to be on the field sometimes? Is kind of the stuff that I took away. Like he would refuse to block. Like, just refused to block. Wasn't very savvy or refined at the top of routes. Just kind of felt like he was just kind of lollygagging through the stems, things like that. This year, it's a completely different dude. Like, everything is very precise. Everything is very attention, like, oriented, focused. Like, it looks like a completely different player. And then you add in that, like, he's winning at the catch point consistently. The Texas game bailed out Julian Sand in that game. And again, when you have Jeremiah Smith that can take some attention away, you're going to get one-on-one looks. But, like, you need your ball winners to win one-on-one looks, and he's consistently winning one-on-one looks. Like, so that's the kind of stuff. It's like, this guy, like, I think, like, Jordan Tyson, yes, obviously still has that crown as wide receiver 1 because he came into it the season. He's given us no reason to come off of it, right? But, like, the way that Carnell Tate is winning, the fluidity he's playing with in and out of breaks, like, I think he moves very comparable to, like, CeeDee Lamb at his size. Like, just that smooth,
he's
not
6'3",
overly
200. He's a big dude. Yeah.
He's just so smooth the way he moves. Even on those, like, harsher 90-degree breaks, like, he's getting out, like, double moves. He's stuttering and getting going, like, without losing any momentum. I think he has a ceiling to be a bona fide X receiver, number 1 ball winner at the NFL level. And I think we're seeing it at Ohio State because he has the luxury of, like, nobody shading Carnell Tate's way because everybody's shading the other guy. So, like,
yeah, that guy would be fun.
Yeah, and then Louisville's Chris Bell is the 4th receiver that I'll bring up here as well. Listed at 6'1", verified measurement 6'1", 227. So very very AJ Brownish build.
That is stout.
A big boy. You go back to his 2024 tape, you'll see some end arounds against Clemson where he takes an end around and he just explodes. Extremely explosive player at that size too. And he's showing a lot more throttle, a lot more ability to get out of his breaks. And I would say they played Pitt and Virginia these past 2 weeks, and I would say these are the best 2 tapes that he's ever put out as a college player. I came into the season with him as my wide receiver 2, and I think he's playing like a first-round pick. The Pitt game in particular, he's got Miller Moss playing quarterback for him, right? Miller Moss has a beach ball arm, is what I would call it. It looks like he's throwing a beach ball. He runs a sharp comeback, like smokes the guy off the line of scrimmage, stacks him, runs a sharp comeback. DB makes a play on the ball because it's significantly underthrown. He volleyballs the ball out of the DB's hands and back into his own hands to bail out Miller Moss and still make the play in the Pitt game. He just,
and that one-hander at the goal line when he's being held on the front shoulder is pretty ridiculous.
Yes, he's a great athlete, explosive athlete. So he is a bit of a body catcher, and his drop rate has gone down this year, but he has historically had a decently high drop rate. So, like, that's a little bit concerning, but, like, height, weight, speed, like, combination on Chris Bell is like, yeah, I'll bet on that, especially with the production he's putting up right now.
It's interesting, man. He's pretty good. And I do think the Ohio State kids is starting to turn into, like, you just take them. Like, I mean, none of them are missing. It's actually an insane hit rate on these guys. And you know, Jeremiah's going to be, he's going to be a dude. I mean, it's hard to imagine he's not special. So it's just, it's getting insane.
A fun exercise if Jeremiah could have declared last year as a true freshman if the Browns would have stayed into and picked him, because I think they probably would have.
I think so too. I mean, the probably the better question here, and I know Brandon Ennis leaves some things to be desired. I get that, but, like, where you're putting this wide receiver class, like, if the Browns, if Ohio State's wide receiver room just went into the NFL, where would it be right now? It'd have to be a borderline top 10 group, right? Like, the group is ridiculous.
It's insane. It's insane. Yeah.
And that doesn't even include, some of the young guys that they think are going to be really good for them down the line too. So, yeah, I totally agree. All right, let's close with tackle. Again, I know you've tweeted this is an underwhelming class. You wanted one. Last year was the year. That stuff. I get it, but there's still some hope, and they're going to have to get one. They're going to have to take one somewhere. So I think it's like, who are the guys in that class that are standing out to you again, this is early. There's a lot of good ball games still to be played, but I think I've seen some mock drafts where Browns are taking, like, the kid out of Auburn whose name I can't remember.
Xavier Chaplin.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know. This class feels strange to me, where the guys at the top are like, oh, is that a guy a guard? Is he, like, they don't have the matchup of traditional size requirements. So leave some to be desired. Or if you're an Alabama tackle fan, it seems like that group is dwindling every year. So yeah, like, enlighten us where you're at on this group.
Yeah, I'm still a big fan of Spencer Fano, the right tackle out of Utah.
Yeah.
He was my number one tackle coming into the season. He's a little undersized, but he's got a really athletic build to him. So I think there's room to add some really lean muscle and bulk up there in that frame as well. Arms are a little bit short, but I think they're verified at like 33. So it's like it's negligible. A really good athlete, really good core strength, really good hands. Again, plays with really nice knee bend and leverage to really drive and get people out of gaps. Outside of that, man, I would say CeCe Moinoa, the Miami kid, the Miami right tackle, has probably been the best offensive lineman in the nation. But he's one of those guys you talk about. Is like, but this guy looks like a guard to me. Just the depth that he gets on his set, his ability to jump and anchor is like this. This is just reduce his set and let him jump everybody like this. I think he'd be like an elite guard. But do I see the length or the explosiveness or the set depth? Feels like, can he match speed vertically? Like if he's kicking vertically, I'm not 100% sure. So I have questions there. Outside of that, man, it's been like Isaiah World, the Nevada kid that transferred to Oregon, has been disappointing. Caleb Lomu has been disappointed. Caden Proctor has been heavily disappointing. Xavier Chaplin, I came in lower on anyway, but he's playing some pretty bad football, like just flat out bad football for Auburn. So like, it's a tough group. It's a tough group. What you can bank on, Lomu is a converted tight end. He has the athletic build. He has, again, the build to add weight to again. So there's some body development there that you can do to him. Caden Proctor, I don't know what's going on with him, man. I have noticed that he's playing with both a shoulder and an elbow brace on his outside arm, which is hard to play offensive tackle without that outside hand. But he's getting beat through the chest a lot, which is not what you want to see for somebody who's listed at 366 pounds. Especially guys with like a speed to power runway are blowing him back, and he's having a hard time anchoring in. And then that's pretty concerning to me. There's part of me that feels like with him as well, we've seen Mekhi Becton, like the overly large guard transition, and he's playing his best football at guard. And there's part of me that wonders, like, is this guy a guard? Even though he's 6'5" and 366 pounds. Like, so
you're getting beat with strength at that weight, like you can't. Because you're ultimately going to already have a high side weakness just by virtue of getting your and I'm saying an M on this word, mass that deep in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? So it's a tough one. But yeah, I was looking at PFF stuff just to see where they had these guys ranked too, and they have Fano at 18. They're
really high on the Dunker kid from Iowa, but you couldn't sell me on Dunker right now.
Yeah, Dunker's there at 22, and then Mono, you said there's 23. All these guys are in the back half 24. They don't have anybody. Feels like an offensive line. Like if the Browns are taking one, it's a second round guy that they are probably working through upside. That's the spot that they're in, which is like leaving me to say, I answered this yesterday, that like erasing both, like if Conklin's back for another year or Cam Robinson, they feel like plays well the rest of the year. Replacing both tackles in a single offseason is a really challenging endeavor. It's really hard, and especially when it's not a deep class to go about that process with. So, major shoulder shrug on that one. We'll see. We'll see. Do you have Ruben Bain at the top of your group? Do you like him that much?
Yeah, he's got to be up there. I mean, he's playing probably the best football anybody in college football right now. So,
yeah. Interesting. It's interesting. All right, Corey, great stuff.
His name is a little weird though, but yeah,
it is. Like I saw somebody compare him to James Harrison, like in terms of like play style, and I was like, that's kind of interesting. He kind of does have the same vibe, and then you forget, oh yeah, James Harrison did win a Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year was pretty good.
That is interesting because he's sawed off in 32-inch arms, so he's very much kind of that same. Yeah.
I thought that fit, but that's like, okay, that's your first overall pick. That's not the traditional.
I think it'll be a quarterback this year. Again, I really like this quarterback class, and I think the NFL will too. So I think quarterbacks are going to push some good players down the board. So let's
hope the Browns are there to take one of them. That'd be great. All right, Corey, this is good stuff, dude. We will continue to check in with Corey. Daft on Draft, as you know, very well by now. Recommended website for us. If you're trying to just find it, you can find it as a recommended site on the Browns Film Breakdown site. Check in with him throughout the rest of the year, man. We really appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you, Jake. Thank you.
All right, dude.